All right. What is up, Arizona fans, Big 12 fans, and anyone watching this video just because you're a fan of college football? Excited to be talking with you today. Marquis Groves-Killebrew has just exited the transfer portal and will be playing with Arizona again this upcoming year. Should be a good get for Arizona. We're going to dive in today. We're going to look at some of the PFF numbers and the grades and get an idea of what we're working with here in Marquis Groves-Killebrew. Make sure you guys stick around to the end. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you a breakdown of my final thoughts and just the full like what I think he is, what type of impact he could have this year. So make sure you guys stick around and let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at Marquis Groves-Killebrew. Okay, guys, here he is. So Marquis Groves-Killebrew and playing for the Arizona Wildcats in last year's sample size. The year before, he was at Louisville. The year before that, Texas A&M. So he's a guy that's had a lot of schools going after him. Let me go ahead and pull this up. What he looked like coming out of high school, because he is a guy that did play for a bunch of prestigious schools. So I'm guessing there's a chance he was pretty sought after coming out of high school. Um, Even as a transfer prospect, when he was in the portal, he was a 3-star 86 corner. So decent transfer grade. And then as a high school prospect, he was a 94 rated 4-star, which is a super high rated 4-star. I think 4-star starts around 89, 90. So that's a really impressive grade. So he was a sought after player coming out of high school, went to Texas A&M, a part of some of those classes that didn't work out for Texas A&M, but had tons of talent. I'll put this up on the screen for a second so you guys can see it. Check him out here coming out of high school, guys. Really sought after player. Had offers from, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Nebraska, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. Basically, this is one of those kids. When you're that high rated of a 4-star, this is the type of player that goes where he wants to go, right? If he shows interest in a school, they're probably taking him. So now let's switch it back over to the PFF grades. Very exciting prospect, though, for Arizona. He really only has one season where he got a good sample size. He should have 2 seasons of eligibility left, though. So Arizona could have this kid for another 2 years. Let's take a look at him, guys. And anytime I'm looking at PFF grades, this over here, so these like grades for me have become less important than these numbers, okay? So the PFF grades, I just feel like there is some impression based on what the person grading it thought. So I like to do these to get a deeper idea of what we're working with this player. And you guys will see what I'm talking about here in a second. So right out the gate, the first thing to look at is his missed tackle percentage. It's at 18.2% last year, which is his only good sample size and only sample size really worth taking into account. And that's not bad. Just so you guys know, with a corner, that 20% range is about average. It's decent, right? That's where you want it. Anything higher than that is money, right? That's great. But anything like you start to get into the 30s, that's when you're concerned, like, oh, this guy has a problem with missing tackles. But just don't forget, let me point something else out to you guys. His snaps are at outside corner. You can see here almost 100% of his snaps were at outside corner. And what that means, the reason I bring that up, guys, is that means that he is, when he has an opportunity to make a tackle, there's a good chance that he is one-on-one. And it's just, hey, you better figure it out because this guy's going to try to make a play on you to take it upfield. So for an outside corner, around 20% is a decent number. One other thing to look at here, guys. So he was targeted 31 times on 232 coverage snaps. So we take that. So 31 divided by 232, that's going to be a 13.36%. So basically just 13% target percentage, which is not bad at all, especially when you're playing outside corner, right? That means the guy he was covering was only targeted 13% of the time. And that's only counting pass plays. That's not every play that's on pass plays. So, that's way less than the percentage you would think it would be. That's a good number. I also think you look over here at the receptions. So receptions, only 17 allowed. That's going to be lower than 8%. Let me do the math here. 232. Yeah, 7.3% reception percentage. So his guys were targeted a little, just slightly over 13%, but they only caught the ball less than 8% of the time, which is a very strong number. It's one of the better numbers out of everybody. So that's a really good look. And I think sometimes, people that are new to PFF get caught, and I know I did a few years ago, like when I really started getting into all this, you get caught up with these coverage grades, and they do mean something, right? They tell you what the stats can't tell you. They give a little bit of eye test on the guys watching it. I think where I am a little concerned is when he did give up plays. They were big plays, yards per reception, 17. That's pretty freaking high, right? So when they were catching passes on him, it was a big play. You don't love that. The yak isn't crazy. Only 84 yards of yak on 17 catches. So that's what, about maybe 4 to 5 yards, something in that range. So nothing crazy. A little high, but not crazy. He only gave up one touchdown. That's a big number in his favor. And that was on 232 coverage snaps. So big win there. And with this 289 yards, there was one really big play of 57 yards in there, and I'm guessing that's the touchdown. I don't know for sure. He also had 4 pass breakups, and again, this is all at outside corner. So I think there's a lot of good here, right? And then one other thing to look at is the stop number. So 6 stops. He played 202 run defense snaps. So he was able to get some stops, get in there, get his hands dirty. A stop is a neutral or negative play for the offense. So either, he's meeting a guy at the line, or he's getting in the backfield and causing a play for a loss. So stops are a big number. It's one I always look at. And a cornerback that can have stop, cornerback, like, it's just like I always say about corners is you need to be able to cover. Everything else is just extra, right? If your coverage sucks, you could be the greatest run stopper in the world, switch to linebacker, right? It's not what you're out there to do. Like, it's part of the game. It's 30%, 40% of what you're supposed to do. But the number one thing you're supposed to do is get on their best guys, even whether it's zone or man, and make sure they're not catching the balls. So stick around, guys. In a second here, I will give you guys my final thoughts. And as always, I grade the transfers on a scale of 1 star to 5 star. And technically, he's not transferring in, but he is exiting the transfer portal. So I will give him a 1 star to 5 star grade. 1 star being a big time project that needs a lot of work. 2 star being an average starter. 3 star being a good starter. 4 star being a great starter. 5 star being elite, one of the best players in college football. So stick around. I'll give you guys that grade in a minute here. Okay, guys, like I mentioned, I'm going to give you guys my final thought and my final grade, 1 star to 5 star. Before I do so, though, I would appreciate if you guys would comment below, what is your final grade? 1 star to 5 star. Again, 1 star project, 2 star average starter, 3 star good starter, 4 star great starter, 5 star elite top of college football player. It is a tough grading scale, but I do find it to be the best way to do this. So make sure you guys drop your comment below. How are you feeling about this guy? Now, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts right now. Before I do, like the video, subscribe to the channel, Big 12 fans, Arizona fans, whatever, subscribe to the channel. We are going to be putting out so much freaking content. You're going to want to be here. Hit the notification bell so you always know when we drop new videos. Also, no, nothing else. Let's talk about him. So, Marquis Groves-Killebrew. I think you look at those PFF grades, you would think he's not that good, right? That's what stands out. Is you're like, oh, these are kind of rough PFF grades. But you dig a little deeper. I thought there was some really good numbers, and a lot of those numbers were at out, like basically all of his snaps were at outside corner, which, in my humble opinion, is the toughest position on the football field. Maybe outside of quarterback, where on the defense at least, that is the toughest position, and I really don't think there's much debate there. Drop that in the comments too. I to me, it is clearly outside corner is the toughest position in college football. You get all the blame and very little of the praise, and it is very likely that you could mess something up. And in my time as an outside corner, I definitely did quite a few times. So you're playing the toughest position on the field, in my opinion, and he did a heck of a job. I thought the target percentage was good, right? It wasn't elite target percentage, but it was good, right? It was fine. And then the reception percentage was very low, right? When he was targeted, they caught it just slightly more than 50% of the time. I think you got to give some credence to those PFF grades because, they're watching every play and really giving a good look at everything this guy's doing. but he had 4 pass breakups on top of that. He had only let up 1 touchdown in 232 coverage snaps. I mean, I really like what this kid did last year. I'm going to go ahead and give him a 3-star rating, which I don't give out all the time. I actually think this is going to be a good starter. And when I say good, I look at it as like a EA Sports college football, Madden type of deal. That's like a 85, 86 type of grade, right? Maybe you get into the higher 80s, maybe, right? Like 87. So it's like a guy you're going to want on the team. He will be an impact player. He will stand out on the field. That is how I look at that. He won't be the best cornerback in college football. He won't be elite. I'm not saying he will or won't be, really. I'm saying this is my projection. Hopefully he proves me wrong and kills it. As long as they're not playing Utah, I'm totally fine with that. I think it'd be awesome. But that's kind of how I project this guy. I think this is really good for Arizona to get this kid back. Yeah, he should be a starting corner for you guys on the outside, which, again, one of the toughest positions to find. It's for me, it's the equivalent of finding quarterbacks on the defense. Not quite as hard, but if there was a defensive equivalent to finding corners or to finding quarterbacks, it would be this position. It is outside corner. To get a good one is very difficult. So congrats to the Arizona fans. Guys, like I said, comment down below, 1 star to 5 star. You guys know the grading scale. And if you don't, rewind 4 minutes and, play it back. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you always know when we drop new content. I am out of here. Go Big 12.